Nice cough, Calvin.
Yeah, thanks, man. it's it's been a haul with the coronavirus.
Yeah.
We're still getting hit. We're now on day 11, I think.
Damn, bro.
Maybe, yeah, no, day 12. Day 12 now of COVID. I'm through my infectious period now, but that definitely contributed to our absence. Was the crippling coronavirus, man.
Word, man.
It hit me so hard this time round.
Yeah, man. You said you were struggling.
It was
For a while.
it was number 3 of COVID.
The third
I've had it
time,
3
eh?
times now. Yeah.
And you went out and got tested every time, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like the first couple of times, like, it was bad, but like this time, man, it's just lasted so much longer. It was like a full week of being in pain and just
Fuck,
like super
That's brutal.
super dead. Now my sister's got it and came home today, and she was just
Fuck.
knocked out on the couch, just completely done.
Man.
It's no good. Have you had COVID, Parker?
I wouldn't know. I haven't been tested. I've been sick a couple times since the pandemic started. I had one time where I got knocked on my fucking ass, like popping the Tylenols and Advils like all day, every day for 4 days. So I had that happen once. But I didn't go out and get tested, so I have no clue.
Yeah. Word. No, it was a tough go. It was a really tough go this time around, but we're through it now. I think I was telling you and Otto about this, but I think what really did me in this time was Stampede.
Right.
We
lots
talked
of exposure to lots of people.
We talked about Stampede. Well, yes, and also the complete obliteration of my immune system.
Right.
Like I was down, man. It was like a full week of getting like 3 or less hours of sleep and drinking like basically every day.
Every night.
And you know, my body was just done, and then I got exposed to COVID towards the end, and my immune system was like a tissue paper in front of a train, bro. It was done, just obliterated. Just did not stand a chance.
Yeah, that's right, because the last episode we did was the first night of Stampede, and now Stampede finished like a week ago, right? So it's straight up been 3 weeks. Thank you, brother.
Oh, of course, can't have the man empty-handed.
Of course.
Man's drinking.
So yeah, I guess we should say, here we are. We're back. We're doing the podcast again.
Made it back for episode 5.
It's been too long, It feels good to be back. I miss doing this. Yeah.
It does, yeah. When we put the mic stands in on the couch here, I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
there it is. The power of the microphone is back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
dude.
something about having the microphone in front of you that really changes the course of the conversation, right?
It does.
Like,
it does. Like
yeah.
it's like a pressure. It's like a bit of a pressure to like, oh, we gotta like talk about stuff, but also it kind of inspires, you know. You like dig into the brain, be like, yeah, what can we talk about?
Yeah.
What can we talk about this time around?
Yeah, because I mean, we can sit on this couch without all this equipment here, and we can shoot the shit for hours. But I mean, the conversation might go this way and it might go that way. But you have mics in front of you, and I feel like you dial in a way like.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, man.
I mean, yeah, we sat here not sat here, but we were around this room for like 2 hours before we turned on the mics, just talking. Now we just continue the conversation.
That's correct.
Yeah, dude.
So Calvin, what do you got for us today?
Oh man, we got a lot of places we can go. First, I would like to take a moment of self-pity. Oh, I like your Pilsner socks, dude.
Oh, thank you, bro. They're inside out right now.
But I can still see the Pilsner bunny. Yeah. That's really all that matters. So yeah, but in my moment of self-pity, I'm a little dead right now. Today in particular, I mean, yeah, I'm off the COVID train, but
it's still in there a little bit, right?
I still got the cough and the sore throat.
Yeah.
I'm Advilled up, so I'm feeling okay.
Oh, we're good.
But man, work, dude.
Work.
Today,
let's hear about it.
Today was like unbelievably harsh. I mean, I'm not a roofer and I'm not like doing siding or anything. I really felt bad for the guys that were, but like I was telling you, this site is like working up on the top floor, and you've got this black roof that's made of metal, so the heat just radiates through, and I'm working up on the ceiling inches away from this roof, and that plus the 36-degree ambient temperature, it was awful, man. Like now, like I'm already, like, during this time of day post COVID, I usually get kind of tired. That plus just how heinous it was today to be working, like, and it's not easy work too. It's like fairly physical, up on top of a ladder putting up pipe. It's just not not very much fun. And
and the other thing you said, it's a black metal roof that's then radiating into the floor that you're working on without much insulation, right? So
no insulation and no air movement either.
Odds are is actually hotter in that room than it was outside.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Just terrible. Yeah. No air movement. Just getting absolutely
buckled by the sun.
It's like, okay. I noticed at like 10 or 11 o'clock, I was like, oh, the ceiling is getting hot. That's not nice.
Yeah.
And then towards like 2:30 in the afternoon, it was like hot, like hot to the touch.
Yeah.
And it was miserable.
Man, that's crazy. Dude. The electrician lifestyle.
Yeah, not nice. Is your shop air conditioned?
Yes. Yeah, it has to be temperature controlled for the accuracy of the material parts, right? Because you got to measure, to very tight tolerances, and then if it's 36 degrees in the shop and you measure, you got a plus minus 1/10 tolerance, then once it gets shipped overseas, it's in a different temperature or whatever. You're looking at half a thou difference in size. So
that half a thou, wow, big trade stock, hey?
Yeah,
I like it. Did you know that I don't think we talked about this yet on the podcast, but there was a probe that was launched at Mars in the 90s, and there was a camera on board this probe, and it was shipped from Europe to the United States, and the weight of the camera was measured in kilograms in Europe. But units were not specified when they sent it to NASA, and so NASA put it in pounds.
Yeah.
And so the overall weight of the craft was incorrect.
Yeah.
And it went straight past Mars.
Dude, that's hilarious. It's funny how just
swing and a miss by NASA.
And you're saying just the weight of the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so how heavy was this camera, do you figure?
Oh, I'm not sure, but I feel like it's like very small margins.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with, like, think of like the difference in angle in something that does not have active propulsion on it. When you let it go from Earth's orbit towards Mars, how precise you have to be. I mean, it's almost perfect physics in space because it's a vacuum, and so it's easy enough to predict how fast you have to send in the amount of force and all of that. But when it weighs a different amount, you're off from the second it leaves the ground. All of those calculations now are incorrect, and you can imagine the compound effect by the time you leave the surface of the Earth, how even a couple pounds difference would change that trajectory by even like 0.0000001 of a degree. By the time you're aiming for Mars,
miles,
you're missing by a long ways. So I guess since we're on the space train, we missed the first images from the
James
Webb Space Telescope. I was at work watching the live stream. Like guys were like trying to pack up and leave, and I was like kind of half packing up, like holding my phone, like, oh guys, no, hang on, like I'll be there in a sec, like waiting for it. Ended up being an hour and a half late, and so I didn't get to do it at work, but it was still very, very cool.
Wow,
those are some pretty spectacular images. Did you see all of them?
No, I haven't.
That came in. Okay, so I know I texted you.
Yeah, you sent me a few of them. Yeah,
a couple of them. So the first image that came in was a deep field image.
Okay.
So what that means is it looks into a very small area of space that's very far away, and gathers all the light from this tiny little space. And The reference that they used was if you put a grain of sand on your fingertip and you hold it out at arm's length against the sky,
Right.
the area of sky that grain of sand is covering
That's the
is
picture.
what the frame was.
Yeah.
Within that frame, the picture that came back, you can see thousands of galaxies in this tiny little spot.
Oh man, a grain of sand out here,
Yeah,
eh?
yeah.
Wow.
Just a tiny, tiny little sliver of space.
Yeah.
With thousands of galaxies.
And it's just a fucking, you can see it in the picture, it's just a fucking cloud of
it's
stars.
and it's just endless, but they're galaxies, and so they may look like stars, but as you look closer, they're actually clusters of billions of stars. and so they look like one object, and then you zoom in and it's like, oh no, never mind, that's billions of objects.
Oh.
And within those there's billions of stars, therefore billions of planets. And then you think of the possibility of those planets housing life.
Right, of course.
In just
our favorite topic.
in just a small
Yeah.
in just a small little fragment, there's got to be so many life forms in that.
It's
in that
incomprehensible.
space. It is. It's like truly humbling, you know. But I think I don't mind that. I think it's cool.
It is cool.
And it helps me deal with my problems, you know. It's for the things I really enjoy, I don't apply it, but
Yeah.
when there's something I'm upset about, I
Yeah.
look at that and it doesn't really,
Yeah, exactly.
it doesn't matter
just,
at all, does it? Yeah.
All the significance gets thrown out of the window when
Yeah.
you look at that, right?
Yeah.
Because you're just like, well, what the fuck are we, right?
We're nothing.
And I mean, that conversation's been hashed out on,
Yeah.
over and over and over again for
Infinite number of
generations,
podcasts.
right?
Yeah, well, and assuming the universe is as large as we think it is, there's probably another version of us having this exact conversation somewhere out there in the
In their alien language, and
yeah, or
they're
maybe
talking through their fingertips.
like those like the things from Avatar where they like plug in
Yeah,
the
they
tentacles
plug
and
in.
they can communicate. Yeah, man. So that first image that came in, it had an effect called gravitational lensing that you can see.
Interesting.
It's like a kind of a curved distortion of some of the galaxies. And what that is gravity from a supermassive object, in this example, a central galaxy, that is physically bending photons or bending the light through its gravity because the gravity is so strong. And so that happens on a small scale everywhere. But because the gravity is so strong, you can actually see the curving of this light. So if you have an object, let's say my beer can is my supermassive object. Right now, you can't see the tip of my finger.
Right.
But the light from the tip of my finger is visible from all these other spaces. So if it's going around here and it bends, now all of a sudden you can see the tip of my finger from behind.
Even though it's behind.
Even though it's behind. And so that's what we're seeing in that gravitational lensing, is you're actually seeing objects that are magnified from behind the object that is central to the image.
That's very cool.
Very, very cool. Yeah. That's an Einstein thing.
Because it's not like it just like goes around, right? It's like it kind of flares out on all sides of the object, right?
Yeah. But not linear, because it's a galaxy. The galaxy is shaped like a plate. And so it's not just like a ball.
Right, yeah.
And so
of
you
course.
do see kind of it
has an axis to it,
an
right?
ovular shape to the lensing, which is very, very interesting.
That is very cool.
Yeah, man. And then they submitted 4 more images the next day. 3 of them were actual pictures. Now, the really interesting thing with these photos is they don't actually look like what we're seeing, because the telescope sees in infrared. Because the universe is expanding, when we look that far out, all of those wavelengths that would be visible light have been stretched by the expansion of the universe.
Whoa.
And so the wavelength, as it becomes longer, shifts out of
into infrared.
It shifts out of visible light and into infrared.
Right.
And so the infrared tech was actually done by Canada, by the Canadian Space Agency for the telescope. But it takes these infrared signals and then they run them through essentially Photoshop. And they look at the different wavelengths and then transcribe them to a visible light spectra that we can see. And so the images that come in are not visible to us. And that allows for some pretty interesting things, like you know how radio waves can go through clouds, right? Like you can send a radio wave even through a wall,
right?
Because it's such a long wavelength, it has that penetration ability that short wavelengths don't.
Now, why is that longer wavelengths can penetrate better? Because you experience that when you're listening to music as well, right? The bass goes through the walls, but the high end doesn't, right? Why is that? Do you know? Do you have?
I learned about that in high school. I don't remember. We'll come back to that on episode 6. We'll delve into some wave theory on episode 6. Man. That sounds good. But these what that does, that shifting, is it allows for us to be able to see through, nebula and different clouds of particles in space, that the light from behind them, this infrared light, can now come through and we can pick it up. Visible light doesn't make it through, but the infrared does. Whoa. And so we can see through clouds of space dust. So the rest of the images that came in, they had the Carina Nebula, which is the background on my cell phone. That's that one.
Oh, cool. Completely
ridiculous looking. Like so detailed. There was that one. There was Stephan's Quintet, which is 5 galaxies in a small space, and 4 of them are intertwined in a gravitational dance, so to speak. They're all interacting with each other and pulling each other together, and you can see shock waves from the gravitational interactions of these galaxies. And then there was one other. I don't remember what it is. It was a couple weeks ago. I should remember because I've been nerding out over this. And then there was a mass spectrography, I think that's the word, where they look at the wavelengths that are coming off of a planet or a body in space, and they're able to tell like certain elements will absorb certain wavelengths and reflect certain wavelengths. And so we're able to see whether there's, water on a planet, or whether it has high amounts of carbon dioxide or methane or oxygen or whatever it is. And they looked at this planet that's about 1,000 light years away, and they were able to tell that it had it had water for sure, most likely gaseous water in its atmosphere. So clouds or water vapor, which 1,000 light years away, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that first photo, 13.3 billion light years is the farthest object. Meaning
13 billion
13.3 billion light years. The universe is 13.6 billion light years old. And
what the fuck?
and light years, just years, not light years. But the farthest objects, the light that was emitted from them, left before the Earth was even formed. The Earth wasn't even an object. It wasn't even conceived. That's how old, that's how far away that is.
Yeah.
And think, at the speed of light, how far that is to travel at the speed of light that time. It totally blows my mind. But
I mean, yeah, you can't wrap your head around.
It's like so far beyond our frame of perceivable reference that it's like imaginative, It's just so far out.
Yeah.
But very
far out, man.
But very, very cool. I've just been absolutely loving that telescope.
Dude, yeah, that's so cool, man. I love space.
Telescope started construction in 1995.
That recent, eh?
Well, I mean, I go
for the James Webb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I go the other way with it. I'm like, that thing was like the better part of 26 years.
Yeah.
That it took, and like that's That's a huge amount of time and engineering and dedication that has to go into that. There were 300 and some processes that could have failed in the launch of this telescope, and every single one of them went perfectly.
Dude,
it's huge. It's huge, man.
Aligning stars, so to speak.
I mean, that's one way to look at it. I like to think it's just amazing engineering. You know, maybe the stars aligned a little bit, but I don't think there was much.
Yeah, I mean, it was calculated.
I don't
right?
think there was much luck involved. I think they did their very best to eliminate any factor of luck in that whole process. But one problem that they are experiencing, and they knew it was going to happen, is micro impacts from little bits of rock in space. So because the construction of the telescope is like an open-faced lens, it's not like the Hubble telescope where it's a tube. It's like a big reflector plate of these gold hexagons that are open and exposed. And things can just hit the mirrors. Like, it's open. And so they are having bigger impacts than expected on the face. Now, it still works, and they prepared for it, but they are larger than they originally anticipated.
I mean, as it continues to travel through space, you know, the resolution of the images is probably going to start to deteriorate.
Probably going to slowly decrease. Yeah. But the really cool thing is, like, that Carina Nebula, the thing on the background of my phone, took in total 16 hours to capture and process.
Really?
And that's an impressive amount of time to do it in that small of a time frame, because you've got to think, you've got latency between the telescope and the Earth, and you also have extremely long exposures that you have to take to gather that light. It's not like you can just take a snapshot and be good. You have to point it and then let it sit there, pointed in a very precise position for hours to gather all that. Now, Hubble took days for this to happen, and James Webb, it's
16
in
hours.
A mere 16 hours. I mean, it seems like a while, but in terms of space tech, that's pretty damn quick.
Yeah, for sure.
And
to
tremendously
think
efficient.
that they can, you know, get that telescope to be pointed in the exact correct position for that long it's crazy.
It also has a solar shield on it, and the solar shield is like it's 5 layers of, it almost looks like tinfoil, but it's not, and that shields the lens of the telescope from radiation and photons from the sun. Now the telescope does hide in Earth's shadow, but there's still residual light that can come in, and it would heat up the telescope very quickly. And the telescope, it has to operate at some crazy low temperatures, like 16 degrees Kelvin or something like that. It's
Holy shit, that's fucking
like
low, man.
Really, really low. Yeah, it's got this fancy cooling system on board.
That's like negative 250, right?
It's
Celsius.
It's really, really low. Yeah. And it's like, it's operating at like close to absolute zero. And they have to shield it from the sun. But these solar shields, there's 5 of them. They're the size of a tennis court.
Yeah.
The things that are blocking.
You've watched Destin's Smarter Every Day's video on it, right?
His dad worked on that. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So cool. But yeah, anyways, that's James Webb.
Yeah. That's
like,
super cool.
Very significant engineering event that it disappointed me with how little it was talked about until they released the images, and then everyone was like, hey, that's pretty cool. But I mean, it's been such a project. Like,
I haven't heard about it until like the last year, right?
That's the thing. Like, it's thousands and thousands of people who have been dedicating their entire lives to this insane feat of engineering that is huge for humanity. We've never seen that far into space-time, and now we can. And it's just like, they just slid under. They're like, oh, look at these cool pictures from space, and it's so much more than that. Yeah. But anyways, I could go on.
We've come a ways as a species, haven't we?
We really have. Yeah. We really have. Yeah. I mean, maybe we don't really know.
I mean, that's kind of just our pejorative is just learning about the environment we are in. You know?
We do love to do that as humans. We've always kind of taken an interest in looking at the world around us and making observations and noting those observations for future generations as well.
Do you know what word I was trying to say there? It wasn't pejorative.
I just let it go because I don't know what that word means.
Pejorative is like
Prerogative.
negative. Prerogative. That's the word. Yeah. Pejorative is basically the catch-all word for negative connotation, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it have anything to do with purgatory?
I don't know. But yeah, prerogative is what I meant to say.
The English majors at their best. So I've got a variety of things we can talk about.
Hold on, I just want to jump back into James Webb real quick.
Yeah.
So you said that thing was it's operating at near absolute zero.
Let
correct?
me find the number for you. But yes,
Sure.
keep asking.
So my question is, there has to be some amount of moving parts on that spacecraft, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about absolute zero is that mechanical motion doesn't work at absolute zero.
Right.
Correct?
Oh, I was high with 16 kelvins.
No way.
Yeah.
How low is it?
So this is just the infrared imaging. It's the infrared imaging that runs at such a low temperature. The telescope itself is not all of it is at that temperature.
Right.
But this is from the NASA website. The mid-infrared instrument on NASA's James Webb Space Telescope is now cooled by a gaseous helium cryocooler to under 7 kelvins.
What the fuck?
That is so cool.
It's in the vacuum of space and it needs refrigeration.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah. That's so neat, man. There's so many different systems that this could honestly have its own dedicated podcast.
Yeah, 100%.
You could go into hours and hours on.
So yeah, that like
the level of tech in this.
That makes me wonder because like mechanical motion and mechanical devices don't perform well. You know, at minus 40 Celsius. You know, let alone fucking minus 250.
Mind you.
Right?
The things we're used to seeing as mechanical are not NASA engineered.
Sure.
I do feel as though they would have some...
I mean, it's all been calculated, I'm sure.
Yeah, they would have some technology available to make some pretty robust mechanical contraptions to put on that telescope.
Well, I wonder how much of it is completely solid state as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'd assume the majority of that that aircraft is solid state because you can't afford to have a bunch of moving parts at that temperature, right?
Do you know what cold welding is?
I do.
Yeah. Do you know how the story of that happening on the space shuttle?
No.
It's so neat. It's so neat. So for those of you listening who are not machinists, cold welding in the context of space is when two like materials come in contact with each other, and there is nothing in between them to prevent them from becoming one. So you have two pieces of aluminum, for example. If you're in Earth's atmosphere and you smack them together, there's a little bit of air in between them that will always be there. There will always be other particles that provide a layer between the two. Now, if there's nothing there and you smush them together, those particles...
They bond.
They just think they're together. Yeah. There's nothing in between them, and so it just becomes one like material.
Right.
And they bond and they weld each other together. So that was an issue with opening bay doors on the space shuttle. And they didn't think about cold welding until they sent up like a multi-million-dollar spacecraft, and it was it's useless.
So there is actually a way to cold weld on the surface of Earth, right?
Yeah. Do you create a vacuum?
It's partly a vacuum force, but sorry, you do have to pull a vacuum to get cold welding, but
I also have to pull a vacuum to clean my apartment.
Yeah, word, me too. Yeah, so basically if you polish two surfaces, down to like mirror finish and beyond, then and you push them together and you kind of twist and you kind of rub them together like that then you get a cold weld.
Very cool. It's an interesting interaction of,
but they have to be perfectly flat and like
no oxidation,
more smooth than a mirror kind of thing, right?
Beyond
very hard to
smooth.
achieve. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, man. James Webb. What a
James
thing.
Webb.
Under
You got any more on that?
under 7 kelvins. Yeah, I do have the NASA website open right here. Oh, excuse me. We can look a little bit at some specs. We can look at some just some general stats, some quick facts.
Yeah, please.
About James
I'd
Webb.
love to hear some numbers.
So the primary mirror, which looks a little bit like a honeycomb beehive kind of thing, it's 21.3 feet across,
Right.
so 6.5 meters. It's comprised of 18 gold-plated hexagonal deployable segments. So this thing unfolded when it went into space, as you probably know from the Smarter Everyday video. For the sun shield, its 5-layer deployable sun shield is the size of a tennis court. In terms of instruments, it's got 4 main instruments on it. It's got that near infrared camera, near infrared spectrograph.
What does near mean in that case?
I'm guessing
Does it mean near to the camera, or does it mean near infrared frequencies?
I think it's talking about frequencies. It would make sense because they talk about mid infrared or mid infrared, which is, it's probably, because you're dealing with such fine margins of examination, it probably has to be very dialed to quite a specific wavelength. And so I could imagine you've got different components to measure these different wavelengths. You've got, mid-infrared instrument, and the near-infrared imager and slitless spectrograph, which is the thing that can identify the composition of...
You're speaking Chinese to me right now. I can't even...
Yeah. Well, I mean, those are all just cameras, basically.
Gotcha.
Devices that can gather wavelengths that are magnified by the telescope. So in terms of wavelengths that it can see, here we go. This kind of answers our question. So we've got visible wavelengths. So the little fragment of light that we can all see, some of us can see. And then you've got near infrared and mid infrared. So that's 0.6 micrometers to 28.5 micrometers, talking about wavelength. Near infrared and mid infrared are just different chunks of that infrared spectrum. It is 1 million miles, 1.6 million kilometers from Earth. That's quite far.
Currently.
Yeah, that's very far.
Is that a live counter?
It doesn't. So it's orbiting. So it doesn't actually.
Oh, it's orbiting.
It doesn't change.
Oh, I didn't realize that. It's orbiting Earth.
Yeah. So it's in Lagrange point 2. Now let's do a little blurb on Lagrange points because they're very cool. I'm
unfamiliar.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Completely unfamiliar with Lagrange points.
Did you say unfamiliar?
Unfamiliar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Killer song though.
What?
Lagrange.
Oh, ZZ Top.
Yeah, ZZ
Top. Different Lagrange.
Yeah. I figured.
Yeah. So again, we're gonna go on to NASA's website here. What is a Lagrange point? Now these, so neat. It basically lives in a permanent eclipse. It is the idea of a Lagrange point. So Lagrange points are positions in space where objects sent there tend to stay put. At Lagrange points, the gravitational pull of two large masses precisely equals the centripetal force required for a small object to move with them. So it's balanced between the Earth and the Sun, and the Moon, I could imagine, plays a factor. And it sits perfectly balanced where it's close enough but also far enough that it just sits in between. It's like a sweet spot where their gravity of those objects is completely equal, and so it holds an object in the middle of those 2 points. There's 4 Lagrange points around Earth. These points in space can be used by spacecraft to reduce fuel consumption needed to remain in position. So it uses gravity to hold itself in the right place instead of active propulsion.
Right, because if it was not in, because it's trying to stay on the opposite side of the Earth from the sun, right?
Yes.
Correct. And if it weren't in a Lagrange point, it would have to actively, use propulsion to stay, out of the sun's rays or whatever.
Yeah.
But the Lagrange point helps hold it.
There are 5 Lagrange points, not 4. I was wrong
5,
about that.
Okay.
3 are unstable and 2 are stable. The unstable Lagrange points, labeled L1, L2, and L3, James Webb is on L2, lie along the line connecting the 2 large masses. This is just referring to a diagram here. It's essentially, I can show this to you. This is not going to be visible to the people listening.
I can throw it in.
Yeah,
same
true.
with the nebula picture on your phone.
I
can toss it in.
We're
save those and
Parker's
send them to
editing
me.
is going to be coming next level.
Show that to me again.
Yeah. So you've got this L1 here, which you've got the sun and the Earth, and L1 is balanced between those two. L4 and L5 are the same kind of thing. Now L2,
and that's where we are.
L2 is where it's sitting, and notice how it's behind Earth in relation to the sun. So that's
so the Lagrange points are all in relation to the sun's orbit, or sorry, the sun's gravity.
I believe so. I can't confirm
from that image.
I could probably. Okay. There's a diagram of the gravitational wells as well. You can you can yeet that onto the frame too.
So cool.
Yeah, man. There's an immense amount of technology behind this thing.
Wow.
And the engineering and understanding of our physical space is it's got to be so high to accomplish something like this. We say so high, it also could be totally minimal. There's probably so much that we don't know, but at least this is like it's a perfect application of our understanding of gravity in our solar system.
Yeah.
Using it to our advantage to look further into space is it's kind of cool that we're basically primates that are just, we're just a little smarter. We just developed
that's the thing.
We just developed a frontal cortex and then we were like, oh yeah, here's what we got to do.
Yeah, I mean,
put it into space.
You can go around saying like, oh yeah, we don't know shit. We're just ants on a fucking, green sphere, right? But I mean, then we're pulling off shit like that. So, I mean, at a certain point you gotta acknowledge some of our capabilities, right?
I think it's a really interesting dichotomy that this provides, because you have this telescope that in many ways is an image of the pinnacle of human achievement. It's like this crazy engineering feat that so many humans have put together, and it's the furthest in space we've ever seen, and it's using our understanding of the universe and physics, and we apply all of these unbelievable concepts that humans have discovered over the years, and we apply them to looking further into space, and then we look and it's like, oh wow, yeah, we're pretty small.
We are pretty small, but I mean, for our little locality, like we got some shit figured out, because when we started off, like it was like, okay, like I know what's going on 100 miles this way and 100 miles this way. I know kind of what's happening in this area. And then, as we progress, we're like, okay, now we know what's going on in the whole world. And now we're, getting to the point where, we're starting to learn more about what's outside of that, right?
Yeah.
We're fish that are learning to walk.
That's a good metaphor, Parker. That's a very good metaphor. Yeah. It's really, really interesting to me. There's just so many aspects of this that deserve recognition, and so many intricacies of how what they're doing is possible, that you could dive into just any one of the things on this telescope and just go off for hours on it. That's kind of what you get with 26 years of an extremely high budget. It also underwent, it was 2005 or 2007, it underwent like full reconstruction. Like they didn't like it. Yeah.
They're like, we're not a fan of this. Let's try again.
They did
Yeah.
They did a decade of work, and then the architect's assistant came in and was like, "Don't love it, guys. We're gonna have to change that."
Take two.
Yeah, take two of the biggest engineering achievement
Cut.
ever.
Yeah.
I say biggest engineering achievement, but maybe that's not true. It just kind of seems like it.
It does seem like it.
But yeah, very, very cool.
I mean, I can't personally think of any engineering achievement that outweighs that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if you kind of like put the entire society that we built all together, you know, that's probably.
I mean, the pyramids were something.
The pyramids were something.
Pyramids got to count. Pyramids got to count for a little bit. I got a question for you.
Sure.
If you could go back to 3 different points in history to witness what was happening at the time, what would they be?
Good question. That's a tough one. I'm not the biggest history guy, so this is kind of a tougher question for me. So
That's okay.
Ooh.
I can share mine if you
Yeah,
want.
please.
Okay. So I think what led me into this, number one, I would love to go back to Egypt and ancient Egypt and see what was going on. You know, how were they doing what they were doing, and what did that society look like? Because there's that common, you know, preconception that you know, they had this massive slave force, and it was, you know, these huge numbers of people that were just there to pull rocks. But the level of precision that was involved kind of points to, you know, artisans, masters of their craft, kind of thing.
They knew what the fuck was happening. 100%.
It's too good to be done by slaves. You know, I mean, even, you know, at least by our current definition of a slave, it's like it wouldn't have just been someone that they decided, you're going to work for us now.
Yeah.
It was a collaborative effort of extremely
100%.
skilled people. At least that's what we can draw from what we see. So I don't know exactly what was going on. I would love to see what was happening in ancient Egypt. The second one for me would be like 1505 in Central America, where the Spanish conquistadors first landed and had their first interactions with the American peoples. That just would have been so strange to see, because it was 2 completely isolated societies where you've got, you know, the Mayans, and conveniently timed with the decline of the Maya, where, you know, they're having population struggles, and then the Spanish bring over blankets that have pox on them, and they start killing all these Mayans accidentally.
So is this scenario assuming that, like, when you go back in time to this you know, point in time, or
you're in creative mode.
Okay, sure, but like, you've got like all the mental tools to communicate, and you're there with the people.
Not necessarily talking about communication.
Right.
I'm like
just observation.
Third person omniscient.
Okay.
So you're basically just got a camera, and you can rip around and see, you know, what's.
But you're not understanding any words that are being exchanged between those people, because nobody on Earth anymore speaks the language that they were speaking back then.
I mean, that's a strong technicality, but yeah, sure. I would like to know what they were saying. I think understanding what they were saying would be cool. I really would be interested in more of a macro view on it, though. Like, maybe not necessarily the conversations happening, but just what it
just
looked
the
like,
ideas,
you know, what was happening. So that's 1 and 2. And number 3, Göbekli Tepe. That's
Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah.
And we don't know when that happened, do we?
11,400 years ago ish.
Okay, that's more precise than I thought it was.
Yeah, it's right at the end of that 1,200 year cataclysm that covered the face of the earth for a very long time. But yeah, that one just kind of pops up around that time, and they don't really know how the hell we did it. It was like, oh, we're hunter gatherers, and now we're not. We can make stone megaliths.
So all of your choices would be human oriented then.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to go back to like the first species that ever walked on land and witnessed that.
I feel like, yes, it would be cool. But in my interest lies more in ancient civilizations and the origins of advanced humanity.
Yeah.
Because I think we're just so wrong about it. I think with the origins of life, I think our theory of how life started, there's some debate over it, but we kind of have an idea. We think we know.
We think we do, yeah.
And there's enough evidence to point at it. This is probably right. With the origins of globally aware and intelligent humanity, I think we're just completely wrong. I think we have no idea. I think we're wrong about the pyramids. I think we're wrong about when humans could travel across the seas. I think we're wrong about so much of that. That I would just like to know how the hell we went backwards and why we are where we are today, because there's so many things that point to such advanced civilizations, and yet we went through this period of like medieval times. We were so primitive. And then you jump 4,000 years before that, and we weren't so primitive.
Right.
And so it's understanding, in that kind of area, what was going on.
Yeah. So that's super interesting stuff.
Those are mine. Those are mine. What do you think, Parker? Go into your 3.
My 3. It's kind of hard to just to pick 3, I feel like.
Well, it's not like it's actually going to happen, so I'm not going to hold you to it.
Word. Yeah.
Just go.
I think, fucking seeing kind of I'd go for more of an evolution type approach.
Right.
Kind of hit 3 spots in our evolution as a species, kind of like, when, like, I wouldn't be super interested in seeing, like, when the first cell, when, the dead planet became a live one. Like, I mean, there's not much to observe there, right?
Yeah.
But,
I mean, you say that, but it's also maybe the most significant event in the entire
100% it is.
History of our planet.
But, I mean, I imagine there's probably millions of years.
It wouldn't be that exciting.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I guess another one would for sure be kind of like, I mean, it's hard with evolution because, like you go to this time, you're not going to be you're not going to be observing any changes happening. You're just going to be seeing a snapshot of what it was like.
That's why it's a tough question,
right?
Yeah, you got it.
Whereas, like with your examples, like if you go back to ancient Egypt, you're seeing shit happening, right? Like there's shit going on, and you're there for it, right?
Even if it's 5 minutes, you can see a crazy amount of stuff.
Whereas, with evolution, it's straight up just going to be a snapshot.
How's that bud doing, brother?
It's pretty full. Yeah. I'm chilling.
All right.
Yeah.
Keep going. So that's one.
Yeah, so like kind of like when the monkeys first kind of started to split off into Homo sapiens, and I mean clearly we split off from monkeys and then we split again into Homo sapiens, right, because of Neanderthals, and I'm sure there's others. But somewhere around there would be cool. The creationists are not going to be happy
with your presumption of evolution here, Parker. It's quite a leap you're making.
And then I don't know, like dinosaurs.
Yeah,
it'd be cool.
So really,
the extinction event. Love to see that.
Yeah,
that'd be so cool because we have I don't think we have any kind of clue what happened there.
See, I think we do.
Like an asteroid, right?
Yeah,
is kind of the main theory.
There's a layer around the entire planet of like soot, basically, of like ash and debris that just got sent around the entire atmosphere from that event, and it makes sense in terms of, you know, looking at the layers.
Well, I'm sure you've read more into it than I have.
Looking
too,
at the tiramisu of history, we're kind of able to tell that there was definitely an impact that probably killed most things on Earth.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, there's for sure been many severe impacts over the course of the planet's history.
Even if you're not looking at that through the lens of like, what was it? But just to witness it, you know,
just to see what that event's like.
Just
because, like you said, third person omnipotent kind of thing. Yeah.
Omniscient. Omnipotent is all knowing. Right. Omniscient is all seeing.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So I mean, all knowing would be something.
Right.
You know, I feel like your head would explode though. Like,
omnipotent. You wouldn't have to go back anywhere in time.
Sit here. See it all. It's like the Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull when the Russian lady. Did you see that movie?
Oh, it's been a while.
The Russian lady's like talking to the aliens, and they've got the knowledge. I want to know everything, and then you put all the knowledge into her head, and then her head just explodes, and she turns into vapor, and goes up to the alien ship. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've seen that one. If I have, it was like fucking,
it was
like
no
15
good.
years ago.
Yeah, Harrison Ford was too old for that one. Those original Indiana Jones movies were baller though. Do you have a favorite like childhood movie or TV series that really sticks with you?
It's a tough question. I'm trying to think. Do you have one?
I know the Backyardigans.
Oh yeah, 100%
was a big TV show for me. It was like.
When's the last time you watched an episode of the Backyardigans?
Oh, like 3 months ago. Yeah. My sister and I were under the influence one time and decided to go into Backyardigans, and now
it was fairly recent for me too. Like not 3 months ago, but like within the last 4 years.
Yeah.
For sure. We've watched the Backyardigans episode.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Backyardigans a classic. I mean, I was really into the Indiana Jones movies. That's why I asked you. I love those. I was indie for Halloween for more than 1 year. I don't know. I know Star Wars was a classic. Watched a lot of Star Wars as a kid. The Clifford books. Yeah, sure. Definitely.
Clifford books. That's right. Not just a TV show.
That's a long memory. That one. Yeah. Love Clifford. What a guy.
I mean, of course, Dr. Seuss has got to be mentioned, right? Yeah. I mean, that one kind of is all. Dr. Seuss
is it spans age groups. As well.
Exactly.
It's always neat seeing people like that who can create a narrative. It's like SpongeBob, or Shrek, where they can create a narrative that may seem childish, but upon further examination, you're like, oh, there's some thinking behind this. This isn't just for little kids. There's something going on here.
Well, have you seen that episode of SpongeBob? I'm not sure what the episode was called, but that's the one where Squidward gets trapped in the infinite white room. the alone.
Squidward hits the metaverse.
Yeah, dude, literally. I'm sure somebody watching this knows what I'm talking about. The fucking SpongeBob episode where it starts off and Squidward's just like, oh, I want to, I'm so tired of SpongeBob, right? I gotta be alone. And then he gets it, right, and he realizes that it wasn't what he wanted. And then he gets back.
He has an existential crisis. That's wild.
He escapes and he's back in Bikini Bottom, right? And he's like, oh, it feels so good to be back. And then SpongeBob comes up and he's like, fuck off, SpongeBob, right away. It's kind of a funny episode, but I mean, it's just premises like that where adults can appreciate it as well.
Yeah, totally.
So like thinking you want something and then you get it and you realize that that's not really what you wanted.
Yeah, that happens. That happens to people. In the very top 0.01% of society. There's a frequency of suicides that is.
Like in the uber rich population?
It seems out of place. When the rest of the world looks and go, oh, you had everything.
Yeah.
And this was something that, witnessed and experienced to some degree in growing up.
Sure.
But there's kind of this realization that can occur where you go through your entire life, extremely driven and seeking this achievement or this goal, and you go through this massive success and you reach whatever it is that you were aiming for 30 years down the road or whatever it is, and you get there, then you're like, oh,
not much up here.
I'm the same person that I was yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's that I just spent so much of my life aiming for this one thing and I wanted it so bad. And now I'm here and I still have the same life that I did when I started this goal. Yeah. And I'm still the same person. I'm still me. And that realization can be very defeating. Yeah. And it's kind of the whole Squidward thing, It's like you can aim for this idealistic, goal, and you can reach that, and then you get there and you go, oh, maybe this isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's become super obvious, especially with Joe Rogan's podcast now, like so widespread that, the key to happiness in life is not achievement.
No.
It's not success.
No. That you're right. That is fairly widespread.
I think that idea is becoming more and more widespread.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, sure. Like you got to take care of your body, you got to take care of your mind, and you got to keep yourself busy doing things that you like, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, money's nice, sure. It provides experiences, but above, $100,000 a year,
yeah.
There's not much more that's gonna change anything for you, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think there really is, there's a narrative of money doesn't buy happiness.
Yeah, exactly.
And sure, it doesn't, but it can get rid of a lot of the things that cause stress and disruption.
Right.
So, sure, you cannot buy friends, and you cannot buy your way out of depression. Yeah. You can't buy happiness or fulfillment or any of these things, but you can buy your way out of debt. You can buy your way out of your kids not having a good upbringing, or not having food on the table. You can pay off those car payments. You don't have to worry about your house leaving. You don't have to worry about any of that. And that is not buying happiness, but it is buying your way out of a lot of the things that can take away happiness.
Yeah. Well, that there's a saying, I'm not sure who said it, but it's having money isn't everything, not having it is. Something like that.
Whoa, man.
Yeah.
Parker Scott, 2022.
Not me, bro.
Not you. What? Who was it? Socrates?
I don't know, dude. I think it's a rapper, bro.
Socrates, 50 Cent, same category. Yeah. All right, so it's the 29th of July.
29th of July, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
And today is a very notable day. It's National Lasagna Day.
Dude, fuck yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro. Now,
National Lasagna Day.
Yeah, man. It's actually a few. There's a few things that the 29th is.
Who celebrates this day? Is it just Canada, or is it U.S. as well?
National meaning worldwide.
Worldwide Lasagna Day.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be International Lasagna Day?
Yes, but national days don't use that phrasing.
Word.
National blank day is global.
Okay. It's interesting.
That's
kind of a weird thing.
It's Lasagna Day for all.
It's Lasagna Day for everybody.
Yeah, man. Like the whole.
I wonder how many people are eating lasagna right now.
Probably not many more than usual.
Yeah.
Like there's probably like a small subsection of the population that closely follows national days and like does everything in their power to celebrate these national days as they go along. I think there's something to that. I think that'd be kind of fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and there's probably also a subset of the population that just religiously celebrates National Lasagna Day only.
An even smaller subsect. Yeah, true. They
They're
go
like, yeah,
like marked on
we'll
the
celebrate St. Patty's, Valentine's, Christmas,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thanksgiving, whatever.
Yeah,
but
but
as
but
far as
Lasagna
all
Day.
the other like whack fucking national days, Lasagna Day is the
It's like-
only
it's
one
like the
that
one.
they're like,
Yeah. The Garfield fans.
yeah.
Mm.
When's the last time you had lasagna?
Oh, the last time I had a homemade lasagna was probably about a year ago. My ex roommate's mom made a deadly lasagna.
Fuck yeah.
But I do sometimes buy the like the frozen lasagnas from the grocery store.
Yeah.
They're good because
They're
like,
okay, yeah.
they're like not that expensive and it's like a lot of calories
Yeah.
in a not that big of a price tag. So I
Bang for
sometimes
buck.
do those lasagnas. Now, about lasagna, Parker, did you know that the first layered pasta dish that is akin to lasagna is not actually Italian or anything of that sort? It is from a 14th century English cookbook. So
UK.
yeah, so 700 years ago ish. That's right. Yeah, 700.
And so,
Is that wait? We're in the 20th century,
21st.
21st, but it's 20.
Yeah.
This is.
Is this new to you?
This is
that we're in the.
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just like it's 2022, not
Yeah.
2122.
Yeah.
Yet we're
and
in
it's
the
the 21st century.
So the 14th century would have been 13.
13.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I was right. I was right. 700 years ago or so.
800. Right? No, sorry.
Nah, bro.
Yeah, 700.
That's so wrong. Take that back.
Yeah, I will. My bad.
But yeah, it was an English thing, and then it was the next scene in an Italian cookbook from 1880. So lasagna is a relatively new thing,
Interesting.
because the English one wasn't with tomato sauce. So it
Did
was
it have beef though?
probably. I mean, England 14th century, probably like lamb or sheep. Would be my guess. I don't know. I'm not a lasagnologist.
Lasagnologist.
I don't know these facts. So today is also National Get Gnarly Day.
Love that.
Yeah, just do something gnarly. I definitely got gnarly today at work.
Did you? Yeah,
It was pretty gnarly. Did you do anything gnarly today, Parker?
Did I do anything gnarly today? Oh, regrettably,
Played
not
Minecraft for
really.
6 hours?
Not even close.
No, not today.
Not today. Yeah. I have been going hard on Minecraft though.
Yeah.
Love that game.
Yeah, I mean, Minecraft is one of those games that's like it's bingeable in phases. Like I'll go through like not playing it for like a year or two.
Yeah.
And then I'll hop on and be like,
It's just 3 weeks of
like-
Minecraft all day, every
like,
day.
man,
yeah.
I gotta play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it is for me. You know, I'll go through like for me, it's usually 6 months. You know, between binges, but like during the binges, it's about a 3-week binge usually.
Yeah.
A 3-week Minecraft binge, and then another 6 months.
Yeah.
So, but when I'm on the binge, bro, I eat, sleep, and breathe Minecraft. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
no,
Like
totally.
It's
Yeah.
all there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you mean. So I work this video game truck job.
Sure.
I've told you about this for those of you listening who are not aware of what a video game truck is. Truck and a trailer. Inside the trailer, 26-foot trailer, you got school bus seats on one side of the trailer. On the other side, you got a bunch of TV screens, Xboxes,
Game
PlayStations,
consoles.
Nintendo Switches, whatever. Go to birthday parties, hook up the kids with the games. We play games, and then I send them back inside after a couple hours. But in this truck, we have Minecraft. Mm-hmm. And Minecraft is the one game that I start up every time before the party starts, because everyone wants to play Minecraft. Every single party, there is always a couple kids at a minimum who are like, yeah, we want to play Minecraft. And I'm like totally there for it. And I always tell them, I feel like an old man. I'm like, I was your age when this game came out.
Dude, that's fucking hilarious.
And it's so true. Like I was there. You mean you were there as well?
Oh yeah.
For the beta stages of Minecraft.
Dude, like we had just become old enough to
Yeah.
to be playing video games, and that game hit the market.
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah, it was like
we were
such
there
a
for the
primitive-
birth of Minecraft.
Such a
right?
primitive version, and
Yeah.
I bestow these children with Minecraft knowledge, man.
Yeah.
Like they come to me for help, and I'm like, when I go through the rules, I'll give you the speech. Before we start, I'm like, all right, first things first. We're gonna go in, sit on the benches, don't touch any of the controllers, consoles, any of that. I'll
Yeah.
get you set up with your games. Once we start, if you want to change games, you can come to me for the game you want to play. If you need help in a game, I am not the one to ask. I have not played everything in this trailer, so ask one of your friends, not me. With the exception of Minecraft, I am a god. and the kids always love it. And then they come to me with Minecraft questions all the time. Because I truly was like the Minecraft Pocket Edition, man, on the first generation iPad, Minecraft Pocket Edition. I snuck it into my bedroom. My parents really hated me for this.
Yeah.
I snuck that iPad into my bedroom, and after school, I would, hang out with my family, do whatever, go to hockey. Then, 8:00, whatever, I would sneak the iPad down to my bedroom.
PE edition time, baby.
And I would go to bed, and I would play Minecraft for 6 hours. And just every night, I built a replica of the White House on
No
Minecraft
way,
Pocket
dude.
Edition, and it was sick. It was awesome. But I was fully addicted as like a child.
Dude.
I had a problem.
Well,
with
you know what the
Minecraft.
thing is with Minecraft is I don't think any other game does this. I mean, there's a very small category of games that do this. It gives you the internal feel of productivity without doing fuck all, right? Like
doing absolutely nothing.
you sign off Minecraft at the end of the night, you're like, "Oh, dude, I killed that shit. I got so much shit done," right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
the
you're like,
sink- the
"You've been
sink
doing
is
this
full-
shit for 6 hours, right?"
The sink's full of dishes and the floor's dirty, and you got to go to work in 2.5 hours. And,
And
it's
you're like,
4
"Bro, I
a.m.
really
You're like-
killed it
You're
today."
like, "Oh, man, I did good." That's true. It's such false productivity. It's like it's
That's
like
why it's so
like it
addictive.
hacks your brain.
Yeah.
Oh, but I love it.
But I mean, it's
I wouldn't
like,
change it for a thing.
oh, dude. I mean, that's the thing. It's a give and take because like you do have something to show for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's on the screen doesn't mean that you don't like the work isn't there,
Look
right?
at this guy. He's just been playing for 4 hours a day, and he's trying to justify the waste of time.
I mean, I don't know. It's just the best creative
Hey,
outlet.
It is, and it's good. It's good relaxation, and if you were playing it for 6 hours a day every day, consistently, I would voice concern.
Yeah.
But we go through phases.
It's a phase, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I guarantee you, with 99% certainty, 3 weeks down the line, if you ask me, you still playing Minecraft? I'd be like,
Nah, not
Yeah.
not really. Yeah, but some people do.
yeah.
you know,
Some
so-
people do
there-
go hard on
there-
it all
there are-
times.
There are people who have excuse me, really, really gotten into Minecraft. Like people who do it for like a living
Yeah,
on YouTube.
but that's another thing, right?
But could you imagine waking up and being like, "Oh, I gotta play Minecraft again today"?
That would totally ruin it for me.
Yeah, I just don't. I just
Yeah.
don't feel like that would be fun.
On the same token, though, having creativity within your daily work life every day would also be sick.
Yeah,
Like, regardless, I mean, work is work, but I mean, being able to express yourself
Mm-hmm.
8 hours a day every day, I think would just be kind of cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you do that already?
To some degree, yeah. Not every day is let's design and engineer something and then build it, right? Like some days are
Is that not exactly what you do as a job?
sometimes,
Right.
not all the time. I do also do production work.
Right.
So it is a little bit of, okay, I'm about to do the same thing over and over and over again,
Yeah.
50 times in a row.
Yeah, I'm
So there
not-
is
I'm
some
the
of
same
that.
way, yeah.
But then, yeah, there's also, the designing and engineering. And that part, I love it.
Yeah. I also feel like existence itself is expression.
But if I was only designing and engineering,
I can't believe you totally overlooked that super
Sorry,
profound sentence that I just said.
My
It's
bad.
okay. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay. No, I think the thing is though, if I was only designing and engineering and building shit from scratch every day, all day, I wouldn't appreciate it as much. So it's almost a dichotomy, right? Like,
Yeah.
like with the production work, it makes me so much appreciate when I just get to show some creativity at work.
Word.
Sorry, what was your statement? I did completely overlook it.
It's
I
okay.
apologize.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So we were just talking before we got into, your career. You're saying that, being able to express yourself
Right.
For 8 hours a day every day would be, pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think existence itself is expression.
For sure.
To exist, I mean, are you not consistently expressing yourself, whether it's to one person or, to whoever you're working with or whoever you're around, or even to yourself? Right? I feel like existence itself, even just living, is, expression. So are you talking like being able to express yourself so more people can see it, like expressing yourself to a greater audience? Or are you talking expression through design? What did you mean by being able to express yourself?
I just kind of meant like, because you're right. Like as you go through life, every moment is you're expressing yourself and putting forward your personality or whatever. But
even if you're
like,
Helen Keller,
sure.
Sorry,
I just mean like not always doing these repetitive tasks, but I don't think there's really any career in the world where there's no repetition. Even the most creative jobs have some repetition to it. So
that's a bit of a brainstorm. I would like to try and find one that doesn't.
Are there any jobs that don't have any repetition?
Professional Rubik's Cube solver.
Yeah, that's totally not repetitive.
I mean, I guess ultimately, you are repetitively solving a Rubik's Cube, even though it's different every time.
Well, yeah, I guess repetition is kind of an interesting thing to think about because there's a scale to it, right? Because, every time you solve a Rubik's Cube, it's different. But it's
the level of tangentiality on this conversation is amazing right now.
It's still, it's like, it's different every time you solve the Rubik's Cube, but it's still like you're doing the same thing every time.
Yeah.
So I guess there is a scale. There's a scale to repetition.
Yeah. To what extent is the repetition monotonous? Yeah. I got a question for you. Total shift of conversation.
Sure, please.
If there was a war in the history of humanity and you could join it, which war would it be and why? Oh. If you could fight in a war that has already happened, which one would it be?
Like I said, I'm not big into the history thing.
Right. I'm going to make you big into the history thing through this podcast.
I just find it doesn't really interest me
like really?
A lot of other subjects
That's not okay.
That's not okay. I mean, I do look at some history.
Right.
Just so I can function in society, right? You have to have some level of historical knowledge to be a member of society.
Right.
But apart from that...
okay.
Which war would I pick? I don't know, dude. Like, I really feel I don't have the knowledge to really to get into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. So
I can easily just go World War II and you know, like that'll be it. But I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So.
Yeah, World War II is that's a mainstream pick.
Yeah,
it's a common one. That's okay. We'll just skip over that because
Parker, did you not have anything to say about that?
Doesn't know anything about history.
I have fucking no history knowledge.
No. I'm not. I'm asking the questions here, Parker. These are these are for you.
Yeah.
No, I mean I don't know. I think the Vietnam War. Just kidding. No, that's a terrible answer. That was totally.
Why is it a terrible answer? Enlighten me.
Because the Vietnam War was just American involvement in shutting down communists in other parts of the world, because they didn't agree with the Russians, and then there was a communist, area of Vietnam that they were like, oh, we need to get rid of that. That's totally not okay. Right. Korean Wars are the same thing. Americans got involved in that. They really hated communism, and so they were sending Americans to go fight other people's wars because they didn't like communism. Totally unjust, in the, post-war viewpoint.
Yeah.
Basically everyone looks back and was like, yeah, that was a little messed up. Like, a lot of young American men died because of the American government being like, we hate commies.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely not Vietnam War. I would say probably the Civil War, American Civil War, if I was American. I think that one was big, you know, in terms of slavery. That's a lot of what that war was about, you know, was civil disagreement on how to move along as a society, whether slavery should be a thing or not. And that one, I think, would have been a just battle to fight, as well as World War II, because of, you know, atrocities being committed.
Atrocities.
You know, do you know who Steven Seagal is, Parker?
I do.
Yeah, you seen his website?
No.
Yeah, okay, so this is something I came across
Yeah.
the other day, and it's gold. It's gold, man. I mean, you can see here, it's a top-notch website. I'm gonna,
Oh, bro.
I'm gonna get
Classic Steven Seagal fashion.
Oh yeah, you've got like you know, some lettering along the left side that is probably completely meaningless.
Dude, the fucking big letters, philanthropy.
Yeah. I opened philanthropy to see, you know, what he was. So, we've got home, news, film, True Justice series, other work, music, which we're gonna have to go into at some point because he has a band and he doesn't actually do anything. He's just on stage. He sings a little bit, but it's pretty questionable. We've got biography, philanthropy, martial arts, gallery, and video. The great thing about this website is it just pumps Steven's tires like immensely. Like the whole thing is just like Steven is the Lord. He is the one. So under philanthropy, I can't even read this without laughing. Some of Steven Seagal's greatest accomplishments in life are with the charities he supports and has started. Steven is a man who extends his success to various philanthropic causes, including needy children around the world, the environment, animal rights, and AIDS projects.
Did he say needy children?
Yeah.
Great wording, Steven.
Yeah, including needy children around the world. Needy little
Fuck
kids.
these clingy kids, bro.
These fucking needy little shits.
Nice cough, Calvin.
Excuse me. His deep love and care for his family and the human race is exemplified in his commitment to do his part to make this a better world. God. Steven has supported many charities, including several environmental causes to protect what he feels is the world that has been bestowed upon us, natural beauty and gifts from our land. The whole website is written, it's almost like he wrote it himself, talking about himself, you know, which is what most of his stuff is. It's like, it's very egocentric, and you know, he pipes himself up. But yeah, it's just like a whole bunch of pictures of like Steven Seagal handing like toys to children. He's also a doctor, as you can see. He's got some doctor outfits on, you know, checking out the little kids. Steven paid his respects and visited old and sick people in the Republic of South Africa whilst filming in 2005. What an honorable man. But yeah, this website goes on and on and on. Right. And I gotta say, Steven Seagal is he's an idol for me. Yeah.
Fucking guy is hilarious, man.
It's so good, man. Did you ever see the clip of him in Russia when he's doing Aikido? That's right. That's what he does,
I've seen that clip.
When he's doing Aikido, and then there's like 3 attackers that are coming at him, and there's this massive crowd, and he's just standing there in the middle, and like these young, capable, fit, strong martial artists are like coming at him, and then Steven Seagal just like, you know, does something with his hands, and then they just go flying over backwards, and like every time the crowd goes wild. This like perfectly like if they wanted to, they could cripple him in seconds, and yet they come in and they just like flop into him, and waves his hands and they go flying, and then just like the roar from the crowd. They love it. And at the end, they bow, and then he just gets the standing ovation. But they love him in Russia. He's
Interesting.
He's like a big thing there. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure he's met Putin a few times too. Like I think they're buddies. But yeah, I love Steven Seagal, man.
Yeah, I saw that Aikido clip, man.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious.
But the thing with him is he is a legitimate Aikido master.
Right.
Like he's old and like very unfit and has no energy to put into anything, and it shows. Like, in his newer movies, it's like, man, you gotta pack it in.
Yeah.
You gotta stop. But I mean, at one point, like he is legit.
Yeah,
in terms of martial arts skill, he knows what's
Aikido,
going on.
yeah.
He legitimately knows it. But his overinflated ego gets in the way of any form of legitimacy.
Yeah.
You just see the guy and you're like, man, just don't. Like, Steven, cut it out, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I came across this website and I wanted to bring it up on the pod, just because of how truly hilarious it is.
That Aikido clip is fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
Do you want to take a quick break,
Yeah, man. I'm down
piss,
for
so.
yeah, me too.
Okay.
A little brief intermission.
All right.
Hour 20. Yeah, let's call her here. We'll be back in a moment.
See you.
All right, we're back with the guest. Why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners?
Sure. Hi guys, my name's Lauren, and I'm friends with Taylor from Upstairs.
Upstairs Taylor.
Welcome,
Upstairs,
Lauren. Yeah. Taylor Upstairs. Yeah. that's his official name. Yeah.
This I introduced him as Upstairs Taylor, or Taylor Upstairs, to my sister the first time she was here.
Just had to hook on to that.
It just stuck.
That's perfect. I mean, that's what he is, right?
He is
Taylor Upstairs.
He is Taylor Upstairs.
Stellar guy.
So, we've covered a pretty good variety of topics today. We've been talking about telescopes, got into wave theory a little bit, also dived into some history. I don't think we've touched on any like conspiracies or anything yet.
Not quite, no.
Yeah, where do we want to take this? What direction should
Well,
we
I don't
head
know.
with the
Like, let's
conversation
just
forward?
learn a bit about Lauren here.
Yeah, Lauren, why don't you
tell us a little
about
about yourself.
Sure. Well, what do you guys want to know?
What do you do for work?
Yeah.
I'm a buyer at an industrial supplier, so that means I work in procurement.
Cool.
Yeah, and if you don't know what that is,
Keep going.
there's a thing called supply chain, and supply chain is basically everything.
Yes.
And procurement is a part of that. So I'm basically buying from vendors, and then we get all of that stuff that they sell to us, and then we distribute it. Wow.
In what area is this?
It's an industrial supplier. So
Industry is a broad term.
It is.
Yes. Think about like a Home Depot or a Canadian Tire.
Right.
Okay.
But think more commercial. So if you're an electrician or a plumber.
I am an electrician.
There you go. Well, have you
Or a
ever
machinist.
Yeah, sure.
We're
Okay.
both in the
Yeah.
trades.
Okay, yeah. So if you've ever heard of Bolt Supply House.
Oh, they have such good Milwaukee tools.
Oh my God, no.
Oh, the
Don't even get me
Milwaukee
started
set.
on Milwaukee. Yeah,
We
Milwaukee's-
love Bolt Supply House.
There we go. So I work for Bolt Supply
No
House.
way.
Right
That's
on.
crazy.
I haven't been to Bolt Supply House.
Parker, you gotta
I'm
go.
unfamiliar.
You gotta hit a Bolt
Yeah,
Supply
let's
House,
Let's put
man.
up a Bolt
They've got
Supply.
locations in Calgary.
Oh, they
do
got
they?
locations
They've
in Calgary.
got 14 locations. across
14
Calgary.
in the
It is-
city.
We've
Bolt
got
Supply
3 in
House
Calgary.
has crippled my bank account more than anything else.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so dangerous. Every time I'm in there, I'm like, oh, that's a Milwaukee tool I don't need, but I want.
Yeah.
And I'll do it every
Yeah.
time.
Okay, well,
That's
there
really
you
cool.
go.
We love Bolt Supply House.
Yeah.
I like how you started off with like really vague and broad terminology that both
Like
of us
procurement?
were
Like,
like
what the fuck is
All
that
you had
shit,
to say
dude?
was Milwaukee Bolt Supply House, and now I understand.
So yeah, I work in our corporate office, so I don't work at one of the actual stores.
Right.
I
Right,
work,
okay.
Like in our office that's attached to our DC.
The
which is
headquarters.
Yes, exactly. I'm running the joint basically.
Very cool.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I buy from a ton of different vendors. Milwaukee, unfortunately, is not one of my vendors. We save that for one of the VPs.
Oh, okay.
That's a little insider information for you.
There's a lot of money in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
It makes sense it would go to a VP.
Yeah.
it's
It's
actually
expensive
insane, yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
I buy batteries.
Oh, I like batteries.
Yeah, but lots of other things.
Yeah, we all use batteries, right? They're pretty handy.
Yeah.
No,
When
yeah.
I was little, my mom for Christmas or my birthday would buy me batteries because because
It's a good gift, honestly.
like as a little kid, it's like, I mean, I was always, building stuff and messing around with batteries, and just having a supply, like a Costco box of batteries that you can apply to, Wii remotes and,
Absolutely.
science projects and everything else. Batteries are like amazing.
Absolutely.
We love them.
They're handy.
I also did in the second year of my apprenticeship, I did heavy duty battery installs, like battery backups for telecom sites.
Right. Okay.
And that's another level of battery.
Oh yeah,
So,
like big batteries.
big
huh?
batteries.
Big battery.
So like there's these telus sites where they run, all the servers for your phones and all the communication lines go through. And if they have a power outage, people still need to be able to call 911 and,
Right.
all of these important things. And so they have generators, but they also have DC battery backups. And we would install these batteries, and it's like pallets where you get these blocks of batteries that are like dozens of essentially big car batteries
Right.
that are stacked on top of each other. These things would weigh like 700 pounds a piece,
Wow.
and they would bring them in on forklifts.
Yeah,
and
you're
we'd have to-
forklifting
we'd
in
have
batteries,
to wire
yeah.
them all up. It was battery heaven, man. I was like, oh, if I had this as a kid. But that's like dangerous stuff though too, because there's so much current there.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like you short some terminals,
Oh.
you've got
Yikes.
2,000 amps and a explosion of copper that sends you flying across the room. Not good. Never
Calvin,
did it.
you're an electrician. Have you ever been shocked, like a scary amount, like near death
I have.
electrocution?
I have.
Really?
Yes, I got hit with 347 volts in first year. And so your typical
Initiation.
wall outlet is 120 volts,
Right.
but it's not the voltage that kills you, it's the current, it's the amperage.
Right.
That's what fucks with your heart. But 347, it's like the power lines. You see power lines with 3 big cables
Yeah,
running along.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
the 3 phases, and it's getting hit with all of those at the same time, essentially, is what it is. And it really messes with your heart. And I went to the hospital after that one. It was like a month into my apprenticeship, and it was a tremendous oversight by a whole bunch of people at the company, but I didn't really know at the time because I was new to it. Now I look back and I'm like, that company should be gone
That
Yeah.
should not have
because
happened.
of that happening. But yeah, it was multiple checks in the hospital.
Damn,
Yeah,
man.
we're
That's
gonna have to
crazy.
hide this.
Shocking.
We're gonna. Okay.
God damn it.
Can you like?
I'll leave.
Lauren's all
Can you
the
like
dingers.
not do that, please? But yeah, we can't air this podcast to anywhere where my mother can see it because she will freak out. She
Right.
does not know about the 347 incident,
Oh,
and we're not
man.
gonna get into it.
Yeah.
She'll make me switch careers.
Wow.
So I've heard a couple times that electricity can kind of be a good analogy for it is like a river, right? You got amperage and wattage. One's the speed of it, and one's the width of it.
Voltage and amperage.
Voltage and amperage.
Yeah.
Okay, which one's which?
Okay, so the analogy that I find most useful is like a hose or a pipe of
Sure.
of water, and the pressure inside the pipe is your voltage.
Okay.
So think of like a pressure washer where you have a very little tiny stream of water coming out, but
Yeah.
it's extremely high
Right.
pressure and it comes flying out
Yeah.
of there, but there's not very much water coming out. It's not like it's really dumping. It's just coming out really, really fast, and there's a lot of pressure. That's voltage. The amount of water flowing through the hose is your amperage, and that's what
Right.
does the damage. Yeah. So it's a combination of the two.
So amperage is size and sorry.
Well, amperage is
Voltage is
amperage is
speed.
volume essentially.
Okay,
it's,
word.
It's how many coulombs is the term. They're clumps of electrons.
Right.
It's how many clumps of electrons are flowing through that given
Mm-hmm.
space. So amperage is the stuff that kills you. Now here's,
Right. It's how much.
Here's
the
something,
volume.
Here's something that's a little scary. So your wall outlet, it's controlled by a breaker that is a 15 amp breaker.
Right.
It takes 5 to 10 milliamps to disrupt your heart. So that breaker on the wall, if you are perfectly grounded, if your skin is wet, so skin is very resistive, and that's what keeps a lot of current from running through you. But if your skin is wet and you're well grounded, you can easily send way more than enough amperage through a standard breaker to go through and completely stop your heart.
Holy.
Like that plug, if you just get out of the shower and you take that thing apart and grab the leads, you're done. Like 100%. Your heart
Good thing
is.
I never do that right after a shower.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's always
Doesn't seem like a good idea.
It always
My
crosses
skincare
my
routine.
mind, like, oh, I want to get down on my hands and knees and lick the plug, but you know,
Yeah.
I never quite.
Couldn't be
The
me.
urge does come through once in a while.
It happens. It happens. But I mean, you hear the horror stories of people that do that, and you know, it never turns out well.
Yeah.
They
Holy.
got licked.
I'm kidding. No one does that.
Electricity.
Yeah, it's quite the thing. I could, you know, talk about it for hours because it's what I do.
Of course.
But we won't do that because
Yeah.
no one wants to hear about it.
Well, it's your podcast.
I mean, I guess. That's not really logic I like to apply. You
Yeah.
know? It's my podcast, so I can talk about whatever I
Yeah.
want. You know, it's
Not
the,
super marketable.
It's the listeners' podcast.
It's the listeners.
The
Wow, I like
listeners'
that.
podcast. So, what do you like to give your listeners?
Well, I mean, this is a good transition. So the name of the podcast is How Many House Cats?
Perfect.
How many house cats?
How many
And-
house cats? Yeah.
And this
Perfect.
perfect.
God damn
Just give it
it.
a
So
taste.
many puns coming in.
The premise of the podcast is non-existent. I mean, we go any which way with it. Whatever we feel like talking about, we go with. But the name How Many House Cats comes from episode 1 when I asked Parker a question. How many house cats do you think, if their intent was to kill you, you could fend off with your bare hands? So in true ritual of How Many House Cats, we have to ask our guest,
Oh.
if you had a horde of X number of house cats that were trying to end your life, how many do you think you could hold off
I
before?
could successfully defend myself against.
Yeah.
I have no tools or weapons.
No, you got
Just
barehanded.
me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will say I do Muay Thai.
You do Muay Thai.
I
Wow,
do.
very
I
interesting.
just had a tournament, my first one last
Cool.
month.
Very
Um,
cool.
Luckily, no cats were present, but I feel like that would maybe help. Get a few kicks in, a few jab crosses.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
The
tough
classic
question.
jab cross. Cats hate jab
Oh, they
cross.
hate that. Oh, they
Not a
hate it.
fan.
Not
Now,
a fan.
My mom has 2 cats,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like if they ganged up on me, it would be tough.
Yeah.
For sure.
But to successfully, like, without dying
Mm-hmm.
and without sustaining an injury that would be like a killer injury.
Yeah.
Maybe like I don't know. Let me think.
Okay. So
Sure.
Parker, what was your original answer?
My original answer was
You went pretty
6.
high.
I was just
hey?
gonna say I want to say 6.
You went with 6. I'm lower.
I would
Maybe-
say I
see,
was
that's the thing.
uninitiated at the time.
Because at first I was like, I could take 10,
I-
and then I'm like, God damn, I couldn't take
I
10.
I
Maybe
deployed
6.
I deployed my cat rationale on Parker.
Yeah.
And I think he maybe changed his answer a little bit.
100%. I was
So-
uninitiated in the cat game at that
Honestly,
point.
all it would take is one good bite or two on like your jugular.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly.
Which human skin is not very thick and it's not very strong,
And I've got the scars to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been bitten and scratched by cats.
and those are very close to the surface of the skin. Those
The jugular is right there. It's up for the taking.
jugular and
Yeah.
carotid. Is that carotid artery? Is that the name for it?
It's an important
Your word
organ.
for it?
Yeah, I want carotid. I feel like, yeah, I'm gonna go with carotid. That's my guess. We'll
We're all doctors
we'll
here.
cover this on episode 6, whether I'm correct or not. You can fact check me at the episode again. Parker's fact checked me more than once, and it always hurts my feelings. Yeah, I'm gonna guess carotid is the artery that goes right there, and yeah, it's very close to the skin. And cats instinctually go for the neck. So the question does beg, how smart are the cats? Can they communicate with each other?
Well,
Can
I
they
think
coordinate
that's the thing.
an
It's
attack?
they're not necessarily wolves where they'd be working in a pack like fashion. Wow, can't speak on a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be tough. But I think if they were bloodthirsty enough and crazy enough, they would just go for whatever was open. And if other cats are, on your other limbs, they see your throat just out there.
Yeah.
They're taking it.
Yeah, I think so too.
100%.
And I think the thing with cats is they're very fast. They're aggressive.
Cat-like reflexes, one might say.
Yeah. I think they're better than humans in terms of speed. And so
Sure.
you can eye up that first one, and you can grab it, maybe give it a little spike. But at that point, you've got more on you already.
They're coming in hot.
And they can claw their way up to your neck like very quick.
You know what? 6, honestly, I might say 4.
That's where I land. I'm like 3, I'm injured. 4, I might not be walking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Four's, I think, probably between 3 and 4 is definitely the risk territory, because how many house cats can you handle at once on your body? Like if you have 4 house cats all on your torso, like you're in trouble, right?
Absolutely.
Especially if they're on your back, because we can't quite articulate back there, right? So
And it hurts.
yeah.
Even just a
Oh.
small scratch.
Oh
like, as
yeah,
you're playing or
I'm so
something.
allergic to. I would
Oh,
probably,
yeah?
I'd
Oh,
probably,
see, okay,
I
you
didn't even
say
get
4,
into
you're
this. Yeah,
allergic to
I'd
cats?
probably die from allergies, just
Yeah.
walking away. Even if I survived the
Yeah.
4,
One look at
I get
you.
like
They'd get you later,
I get,
right?
like,
From the grave.
30
Yeah.
steps and fall to my knees.
Yeah.
He made it out of the fight, but he didn't win the war.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great question.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun one to talk about, and I feel like our Parker and I's rationale has been discussed on several episodes.
Yeah.
now, so
It's a pretty dialed in topic for us now.
yeah, we've really narrowed it down.
Yeah.
So then I gotta ask you, if you got a 6-year-old child, and the 6-year-old,
Which I do.
the 6-year-old, yeah, I mean, understandable.
Sure.
you got a 6-year-old child, and
They're upstairs with Upstairs Taylor.
yes, and they are against the cats. Do you think how many house cats could a 6-year-old withstand?
Okay, so I'm just watching the 6-year-old get annihilated by cats, is what you're telling me.
So you think it's more than one? You went plural with that.
Well, I think a child would have trouble, coordinating a defense against, against cats.
It's kind of a funny thought to
Oh,
think that a
man.
house cat could take down a 6-year-old.
It does depend on the
I think
6-year-old.
I think the 6-year-old would get overwhelmed, because honestly, I would get overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they would maybe get a few punches in or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
but then the tears start flowing and the cat just keeps coming.
Yeah.
I honestly,
Yeah.
I don't know. I would
Yeah.
say 1, maybe 2.
Parker makes a valid point though. Is it does depend on the 6-year-old.
Well, that's the thing. It
absolutely.
depends on the 6-year-old, and it depends on the cat, right?
But yeah, like there are
Because you've
6
got some cats that are a little more
docile
whatever
Yeah.
than the other, right?
Yeah, and then you got your 6-year-olds who have been playing chess for 3 years and eat raw liver every day.
Yep.
You got
Dad showed him how to swing a baseball bat.
yeah, yeah. I think what we talked about as well was having older brothers. If it's a 6-year-old who's been wrestling with an older brother,
Oh, they could take it.
then
Okay, easily
then
too,
then I feel like they could
Me
do
as
it.
a 6-year-old, half a cat.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. 0 to 1 cats. I think for the
0 to 1.
average 6-year-old,
the
it's
chance
0
of
to 1 cats.
spontaneous death by the 6-year-old is definitely a factor.
Yeah. Wow. That's wild.
But yeah, that's most of what our conversations are
Yeah.
like on the pod. It's lots of interesting hypothetical scenarios that we get into. So
Very cool.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Before we go here, Lauren, I do want to ask you. So you told us what you do for work.
Sure.
What do you do in your free time?
Other than beating up cats,
Sure.
quite a lot. I like to stay busy. As I said, I do Muay Thai, which I am
Very
a
cool.
beginner. I am very much a beginner.
How long you been doing Muay Thai?
Parker's a jujitsu guy.
I am a jujitsu guy. Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is crazy.
Yeah, have you ever done?
No.
No.
That is the martial art that
It's very
that's
cool.
a takedown, quite literally.
Yeah.
If you watch MMA or anything like that, if the fighter knows jujitsu, they're winning the fight. for
Right. Sure.
So
You take
and
him to the
you
ground
really
and
said
tire him
only
out.
How many cats? And you know jujitsu?
Oh, jujitsu's not doing shit against cats.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
nah, bro.
Okay,
Go on,
but we didn't mention the roll method.
Yeah,
if-
the stop,
if-
drop, and roll.
Yeah.
Now,
That's
how would that help you? You're just sort of moving.
You do kind of have to have some mass to you, though, I think, for that
True.
method to be effective.
Okay.
you have to be able to crush the cats with your body weight.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Because you know, if
see.
they're coming at you, you know,
I'm
cover up
dainty. I'm too
and,
dainty.
and then
Right.
and then start rolling.
Yeah, I'm too dainty. I wouldn't be able.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, okay, so I do Muay Thai. I've been doing that, I want to say 8 months, maybe 9 months.
Cool, awesome. How often you go into the
Yeah,
gym?
I go 3 times a week. Yeah.
Nice.
It's
Awesome.
a lot of fun. I had no idea, like, what Muay Thai was or martial arts or really anything like that.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't really know. And then my one friend was like, hey, there's these classes, like, you want to go try one? And I was like, okay, sure. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And I went and I fell in love with it completely. And I was like, this is what I've been missing. This is
Yeah.
so cool. And it is such a good workout. Like, I feel like I'm going to pass out after
Yeah.
every class. The cardio's nuts. And yeah,
We like a
it's-
good workout.
Yeah, it's fun. It's been nice to see me getting better.
Yeah,
I can
definitely.
see the progress.
It's the
even though
biggest thing.
Yeah, it's
Tangible
really slow.
improvement.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
slow, but I can see it, and especially with that tournament, I got beat up, but
Yeah.
I learned a lot, and
You kicked
That's
in the
how
head.
my first
Yeah,
tournament
oh,
went too. Just got fucking
Oh.
mopped the floor with.
I walked
Yeah.
in there and I was like, man, I'm a rookie here.
Yeah.
Like these 10-year-old kids could take me.
Oh,
easy.
yeah.
Like, oh god, but no, it was really good. My kneecap popped out during one of my fights, but it popped back in and I finished my fight, which was great. Hurt a lot after, but that's okay. But yes, I learned a lot about that, and now I'm definitely ready to get better and work on what I learned from there. And then I wanna do another one.
Well, that's the thing about martial arts tournaments is that the knowledge and the feedback you get from
it's
competing
amazing.
in a tournament is just pure gold.
It's so
It's
good. And
literally
that was
like
the
it's just
thing.
concentrated feedback that you
Absolutely.
it's so much better than, you know, just training at the gym or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
And
and the gym that I'm with, I basically followed my coach from like an established gym to his own, which he kind of just
Right,
started
sure.
up. Yeah, because I really like my coach, and he's amazing. He calls me Raging Bull. I'm like, I don't know if
What
I'm
a
Raging
flattering,
Bull,
what a
but,
flattering term.
Yeah, but I like it. But yeah, he's amazing. But it's a small gym, so
Mhm.
I didn't have that many sparring partners overall, or they
Right.
were kind of interspersed, and so I feel like yeah, getting some sparring partners at that tournament was really good. And,
definitely.
yeah, just seeing how other people fight and everything.
So how many different people are you sparring with on a day-to-day basis at the gym?
Depends. Usually at least one. Sometimes if it's a treat, I'll get 2 or 3,
Sure.
which is really nice. And then I'll also just spar my coach as well. But with that, I mean, it's so he's going so light
It's
on
more
me, and
education, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's letting me hit
Yeah.
him, right, and figure out what combos work and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's really cool. So I do that. Yeah, I really like hikes.
Oh.
Just as
Tell us
most
about
Yeah, now
it
we're
right
talking.
now.
Calgary
Yeah.
girls do, as
Yeah.
most Calgary girls do. Definitely like the mountains. Yeah, I
Do you camp at all, or are you
I just got back like 2 days ago from camping. We were out camping for about a week. I was working at a music festival.
which one?
Cool.
Shambhala.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Shambhala, you were out of
Yes,
Shambhala?
sir. Second
I got
year.
invited, but I was
Oh,
working.
you didn't
Yeah.
go?
I was
Oh,
working,
man.
you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely wonderful. That was my second year there. I volunteer each time I go, which is really nice, which is a lot of fun. But yeah,
Sweet.
I was super happy to go back. It was a great experience. Yeah.
Very
it was a
nice.
good time. Yeah, but
Shambhala's it's an interesting
it is.
cross section.
I've never been. Have you been to Shambhala?
Of humanity, I've not, but I know
It's-
so
But you've
many
been to
people
like
who have.
festivals
I've-
of the
I've
likes,
been to
right?
quite a few, but
Yeah.
Shambhala is
The
definitely
Shambhala's another
unique.
world.
It's
like,
definitely
I got
unique.
Home, yeah, I got
Yeah.
home and I got to work, and I was like, honestly, I'm happy to be back in the real world because
Mhm.
as
Oh, it's
much
something.
fun as it is, like it's as if you're living in a completely
It's an
different world.
ethereal, you
Yeah,
know.
and I like to say that like there's kind of like 2 or 3 people there, that you maybe 3 people that you see there, and I fall kind of in a few of these categories.
Sure.
But there's people who like EDM, there's mad hippies, and there's people who like to do drugs,
Mhm.
and those are the 3 kinds.
What's the
of people.
difference between the mad hippie and the drug users?
Oh, hippies are, they're one with the earth, and they just
Sure.
want to camp, or they want to party and just hang out, and everybody's so welcoming there and really nice and really cool, and just a hippie, right? Like being out in nature
Gotcha.
and enjoying it, right? And then, people who like to do drugs can sometimes be a hippie, absolutely, but some people just like to party, and some people like to do drugs
Definitely.
to do drugs. Yeah.
Totally. I feel like most hippies like to do drugs.
Most.
But
not all.
but then you look at the people who like to do drugs and not that many of them are hippies.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the thing. And then EDM, of course.
It's like is it still a Venn diagram if there's 3 circles?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
For you.
A Venn triagram.
For you? Yeah.
For you, anything.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So
friends.
I do like to camp. But that was a long stint of camping. I was very happy to get home and have clean hands.
Mm-hmm.
Parker and I are going camping
So
tomorrow.
I was just gonna say, should we dive into that? We're going on a 3-day backpacking trip
I love
tomorrow.
backpacking. What trail are you
It's
doing?
the way we're hitting Evan Thomas Trail,
I've
the
heard of it.
tattooed piece. We're hitting Evan Thomas Trail and then Lake
Heard
Evan
that.
Thomas. Yeah, in Elbow Sheep Wildland
Yeah.
Provincial Park.
And what'd
That's
you
like
say?
area?
So round trip, including the lake day hike, we're looking at what, 30K round
Oh,
trip?
easy.
Little
It's
more,
gotta be
little
more.
more. So it's 24 in, 24 out. We're gonna
Okay,
do
sure.
10K.
So it's 15K each way for the lake hike. You're saying?
essentially,
Yeah.
yeah, 14.
take.
Yeah, so it's 10K the first day, 28K day hike second day, 10K back third day.
That is killer.
I've-
That's gonna be.
I've
awesome.
mastered
yeah.
it. I've mastered it. I've been there
So
so
you've
many
done that
times.
before?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's the place.
How many times have you done this specific hike, Calvin?
Ooh. 6.
Oh, so
Wow.
you're
Maybe.
well versed in
I've
the
spent a
Evan
lot of
I
time
know
Thomas.
up
that
there.
trail.
I
Wow.
mean, it's
You're gonna
my
be like, look at that tree. I saw that 6 years ago.
it's my absolute favorite because it's I mean the trails really got destroyed in the 2013 floods.
Right.
And so it's quite a challenge to actually get to where you want to go, and like if you don't know the way, you're getting lost 100%. You're losing the trail, and that was me the first time I was up there, and that deters a lot of people because you hit this point where you're like, I think it just ends.
Yeah.
Like do we just
Yeah.
go
Did
back?
we stop?
Because you just hit like a creek, and you're like, oh, all right, well, there's nothing here, so guess we go back. And if you can navigate your way through, the 5 or 6 times where you can lose the trail, you get to this like alpine meadow that's just like pristine and
Yeah.
untouched, and there's no one there. And
So how many
that-
people
that is
per
the place.
year do you think do this hike? Like,
Make
it's
how many
fairly
people
untouched. you
make
said,
it up
eh?
there? I would say the people who end up actually making it through are maybe 5 people a week, something like that.
Sure.
That's
who
awesome.
go up there. It's very untouched. The trails towards the top are like tiny.
Mm-hmm.
Like the traffic is so small. Like no one gets up there. But once you're up, it's all worth it. All the getting lost and fighting
Yeah.
with the creeks and losing the trail, it's so worth it. So
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
so Parker is about to experience my favorite place on earth.
Hell
And,
yeah.
I'm very
Beautiful.
Yeah,
very excited.
my last backpacking trip, I did my first solo backpacking trip. I did a bit of a 25K 2-day backpacking trip about a month and a half ago, and the trail was like that there. It was very untouched. I'd be surprised if many people do that trail per year at all. Main reason being that the hike starts out with a tree that's kind of toppled over that goes over a river, and so you got to traverse that to even start the hike,
That's
right? So a lot of people
Yeah.
probably get
We're
out
like,
there
"Nah."
and are like,
Never
yeah, this
mind.
ain't for
No,
us,
I'm good.
right?
Let's go back.
And yeah, the trail was like that there too. Like I got lost like a few times. I remember setting up my tent at night, and I got my tent, and I was getting ready for bed or whatever. I was like, I don't know where the fuck I'm going tomorrow. Like I don't
Yes.
know which direction
Yeah.
I'm going
Terrifying.
when I wake up in the morning. And then I woke up and I
But
kind of
you
explored
embrace
a little,
that.
and I found
You
my
got to
way.
embrace that.
Yeah.
Because if you get in your head
Yeah.
and you get scared, that's when you make bad decisions.
That's
And
right,
so
yeah.
You have to keep a
You just
clear
gotta
mind.
chill out and be
Yeah.
like, I like where I am.
Yeah.
I came from that way. I can always just go back that way.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was about 3 or 4 times on that 25K hike where I was like, I don't know,
Do you
like
carry, like, a-
exactly which
Do
direction.
you carry like a Garmin, like a GPS or any kind
Those
of?
things are
I
pricey,
don't
right?
know.
They
I
are,
gotta
but-
invest in
Wanna
one.
But like worth your life?
Yeah.
Probably.
It's yeah, I
Can
was
you rent one?
Oh, I could imagine.
probably yeah.
I should do that next time because
or you can just hit me up.
Especially
I'll sauce you the Garmin for a weekend.
I'll rent it from you.
Especially being out there alone, like it didn't take very long. Like I was out there maybe 3 or 4 hours the first night. I was like, oh, like I really should have like a GPS on me because like there's no cell service. Like you don't have navigation out there. You can't contact anybody. Like if something happens to you, that's where you land.
The
right?
Garmin InReach Mini is the way to go. It's like, it looks like a little walkie-talkie. It's about yay big.
Is this the orange one?
Yeah, orange and black.
Yeah. So I know this
It's
one.
got the SOS button on the side. So if you fall and break your leg, you hit that thing a few times, they come and find you.
Yeah.
But you can send text messages through your phone. So you connect through Bluetooth.
Yeah.
And you can fire off a message. And, for me, it's my mom because she always wants to know. And so it's just like a text before you go to bed. Hey, I'm all good.
That's
awesome. And it's like, it's limit. You can't send that many characters, but it's like just enough that you can be like, yep, everything's fine. And then you have like location services if you need. The biggest help that I've found is weather. So if you're doing anything more than like a few days, your weather predictions can get pretty questionable.
Right.
And it's hour by hour weather. And so you can see like, okay, tomorrow we got to leave at like 6 a.m. if we're not going to be hiking in the rain.
Yeah.
So like,
I've been snowed on before.
We
left Calgary and we're like, okay, we'll get some rain. That's okay. Rain's fine.
Yeah.
And then we're like a few hours away from the campsite. We're already just zonked. Like it was way harder than we thought it was gonna be. And then this rain is starting to get a little heavy, and so it's looking a little white to you. Yeah, we got snowed on.
Dense
Interesting.
rains.
What month of the year was this?
That was September, I think, which fair enough was on us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was one of those things that was planned early on, and once I say I'm doing something, I'm doing it. So
for sure.
We're going. Like I'm in if you're in. Like,
it's hard to find people with that mindset.
Yeah.
I've taken friends out camping where it's like, I'm like, no, like we gotta go. Like we're here. Like we're just gonna keep going. And they're like, oh my feet hurt. Like man, I don't know.
No,
I'm like, no, this is not how this works.
Yeah.
You gotta come out and send it.
Yeah.
There's only been one time where I was doing a backcountry hike where we did end up turning around because we're doing part of the. Oh, hello.
Hello, Taylor.
I'm telling a story. This is really fun. Oh, I was talking about backcountry camping, and on day 2, we got lost, and I remember hiking in snow, like, up to my hips, and I was like, listen, we're not going to find this campground. We're going back to the first one. So we did.
Jesus Christ.
It's a good way to go.
I lived.
We're still recording the podcast, by the way.
Still live, bro. Here. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
That was Taylor from upstairs.
Upstairs Taylor. So do you ever hit the winter camping on purpose?
I have in the past with my parents when I was just a little kid.
Yeah,
but I've not
recently.
been winter camping in a long time.
It's pretty greasy.
It's good if you bring a dog because they keep your tent warm.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's chilly.
Yeah, I think like at least my experience with it is you get all the aspects of summer camping. Taken
Just make it harder.
Like you get all the fun, enjoyable aspects like sitting outside and enjoying, the scenery. That's gone because you have to be constantly chopping and cutting wood to keep a fire going.
Yeah.
To keep yourself warm, you need to be melting snow for water because you're trying to keep yourself warm, which goes through a ton of water in your body, and then you're also trying to stay fed. And then you're like, oh, we should probably try and get into bed. Oh wait, we have to set up the tent, but we also have to keep the fire going while we're setting up the tent. And it's the whole thing is a grind. Like it
sounds like a good challenge though.
It is. It's fun, and I try and do it once a year. It's just like it's tasking the entire time.
So I've never done a winter backpacking trip, but I have done a fair share of winter hikes.
Right.
Yeah.
With the crampons.
So I kind of know the hiking aspect of it, but not at all the setting up camp, like staying
snowshoes?
warm at the night. I don't have snowshoes now.
Oh, word. The snowshoe hikes are pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on the lake kind of thing.
Yeah. You get way out there in like the deep snow with the snowshoes, and you set up your camp, and like it's kind of like it's crappy, but it's fun because you feel like survivalist, it's like man versus wild, you're like we have no choice. Like we can't just sit here. Like we're going to die if we just sit here. Like we have to do this. Yeah. And like going through that can be kind of fun. but also like so much
Fun,
work.
but that is such
Yeah.
a first world thing, right? Like,
Yeah,
what
true.
do you guys want to do this weekend? Let's like go like baby time.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, let's go
Yeah,
hang out in
let's
minus
go.
20.
Yeah.
bro.
Absolutely. Wouldn't that be so fun? Wasn't that a good challenge?
But it is good to challenge yourself in that way every once in a while
It is.
because it brings you back to reality, right?
Puts things
Yeah.
into perspective.
Yeah.
True.
For sure.
Yeah, and like it's one thing to like want to return to nature, but I also think it gives you a greater appreciation for the luxuries you have in your day-to-day life.
Big time.
Like you're like, oh, I can have warm water and free water,
Yeah.
just at my access at all times. I have health care and all these wonderful things. I can go to the pharmacy and get Advil because my head hurts. When you're in the woods, none of that is there.
Mm-hmm.
It does not exist out there.
You just gotta suffer it out. But I would like to get to the point where I don't have to take food with me. Get like
Yeah.
Say that again
get-
and make it make sense. What do you mean?
like when you go backpacking, like you have to take food and like
Yeah.
nutrients. But like getting to a level of like foraging skills and
Oh, you're gonna go catch a rabbit or something.
That's much harder in the winter, eh?
it is, yeah. But I mean I can hunt, but like you can't really hunt in like provincial parks and that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
but like getting to the point where if the world ended, you could be like, I'm comfortable right now. Like there are gonna be people who like don't know what the hell's going on and they're gonna run out of food, but like I know how to like keep this going. That would be like a sweet point to get to.
That's a good goal to have.
Yeah, be like a true hunter gatherer.
That's hilarious.
It'd be tight. It'd be super tight.
Well, I think it's
And then everyone
important
else
too
would
to
die.
have that skill.
What's that?
Not to be like a prepper or nothing, but shit can go sideways, right? So
Yeah.
it might be handy to have
Hey,
that
you're
skill.
totally
right?
being a prepper right now.
Yeah,
man.
that's true.
Yeah.
We talked about this on the last episode, though,
True.
right?
True.
So,
We got into the post-apocalyptic
yeah.
Oh
world.
gosh.
solar flares to be
Yeah,
exact.
we talked about like if there was a massive solar flare and it destroyed all the microchips on Earth. Internet goes down, communication goes down. Who survives and how do we rebuild?
Yeah.
And we talked for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was a long one. It was like an hour we were
Yeah.
on that topic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big one.
I think I would just let the cats eat me.
Yeah, totally. They would too.
The house cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't take long.
So at the rate that house cats eat rodents, in our world, if they could kill humans at the rate they killed rodents, they would wipe out the human race in 3 months.
You're joking.
That's crazy,
Nah.
man.
Nah, house cats.
That's
House cats
crazy.
are responsible for 60% of animal species extinctions in the last 100 years.
That's
Really?
insane, man.
Yeah,
Um,
have
they're the
heard.
ultimate like invasive predator.
I have heard that certain bird species in
Mm-hmm.
certain parts of the world have seriously had issues with
Mm-hmm.
getting all their numbers wiped out because people have house cats and they let their cat
Yeah.
out and
Little-
stuff like that.
Little
And they'll-
marsupials
yeah,
is a big
take 'em
problem
out.
as well. Little
Right.
Australian rodents are dying at an alarming rate because of house cats.
Real
Wow.
quick, do you know what kind of the rodent population of the world is?
The rodent population of the
Hey,
world.
quick question.
Yeah. So
Uh,
like this fact, do you know it? Yeah.
I mean, by the figure I just put out,
Yeah. More
Um,
than 7 billion,
it
clearly,
would be, it
right?
would be a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it rapidly fluctuates as well because
Right.
their life cycles are way shorter than humans
Yeah.
are. So I feel like it ebbs and flows with what's going on in the environment.
It would, yeah.
You know?
Also, weirdest thing, limited rat population in Alberta.
So wild. Please
Yeah.
someone explain that to me because I
We
think
killed
about
them
that
all.
so
we police.
often.
We
Yeah,
police
we
it.
police.
I know, like
Yeah.
on the
There-
borders and
There's
stuff
there's
too,
like
right?
an Alberta rat force.
Yeah.
Is that not crazy?
It's so
It is.
cool.
We're like
It's
one
so
of the
cool.
only places in the entire
true.
world that
If
does
you-
it.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
looking at a map of
And then
where
there's just Alberta.
yeah,
Where
yeah,
rats are, and
where-
then it's just
and I'm pretty
Alberta,
sure
no
it's all-
rats.
Yeah, Alberta's like completely no rats, but I think there are some other areas of the world where there are limited rats. But
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
Alberta.
I don't know.
So
I'm
wild.
pretty sure Antarctica is pretty limited in terms
Yeah,
of the
true.
rats. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
But no,
I bet you
that's-
the rat population exceeds the human population there, though.
Gosh.
Oh,
Let's
man.
Go winter camping. Let's go up there to camp.
Oh, fuck, minus 70
Yeah.
fucking 8. Yeah.
that sounds
But hey, no
that
rats.
sounds lovely.
Hey, no rats.
Hey, no rats.
What do you gotta complain about here, you know?
I can't remember which country it is. I want to say it's like maybe Scotland or Ireland where there are more sheep than humans. I can't remember what
Scotland
it is.
sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, there are a lot of sheep
I'm
in
Scottish,
Scotland.
so I would know.
You are.
I am as well.
Nice.
Can't you tell?
I can tell. Cheers.
Strawberry disgusting.
Strawberry disgusting. Yeah, that's classic.
Yeah, man. Where are your relatives from in Scotland? Do you know where?
The Isle of Skye.
The Isle of Skye. That's a
Interesting.
very
I don't
nice
I
part
don't
of
know
Scotland.
it that
Have you been there?
specifically.
I have
Yeah.
not. No.
Have you been to Scotland at all?
No, it is very, very distant Scottish.
Scotland's tight as hell, man.
Yeah, but
Have you
my
been,
dad's
Calvin?
all-
I have.
You have been to
Yes.
Scotland.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And did you enjoy it?
I did. The one thing that I have to say, especially for people from this area of Alberta, is the Scottish Highlands have a very high reputation around the world. The Scottish Highlands are very similar to the Alberta foothills.
Really?
And so the expectation is like, oh, the Scottish Highlands, and then
Oh,
you
it's gonna
get
be so cool.
yeah, and then you
it
get
just
there
looks like
and you're
it's
like,
here.
this is like 30 minutes away from my house at all
Yeah.
times. The culture in the cities, I would say,
Yeah.
is the most remarkable aspect.
Really?
Like Glasgow is like, it's so like industrial and blue collar, but there's so much pride. It's like its own little country, you know. They
That's
they
sweet.
just love where they're from.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
Talk about places that get cold, eh? Glasgow.
Glasgow, yeah, the
Yeah.
humidity is gnarly. My parents are going to Ireland for a month,
Oh, cool.
Wow.
in like 3 weeks.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my
Very
dad
cool.
really wants to go to Belfast,
Dublin.
which Dublin. My
Oh,
dad.
Are you Irish too? Wow, that's crazy.
No, he just kills the accent. Yeah, he really wants to go to Belfast, and I think Belfast would be really cool because that's where the IRA was doing
founded?
most of their. I don't know about founded, but that's where most of the IRA's attacks occurred.
Okay.
They were infamous in Belfast, and it was really unsafe for a lot of years. And I think it's better now. And if I went to Ireland, I would definitely want to check it out because of that. You know,
Yeah.
being like such a gnarly place of the world for so
Yeah.
long, going to check it out. You know, it'd be sweet.
Well,
Also,
Definitely.
today is National like do something gnarly day.
no way.
And what else is it,
Yeah.
Calvin?
It's also National Lasagna Day.
Are you
Hell yeah.
joking me?
Nope.
Yes,
That's both gnarly and lasagna-y.
it
That's
is.
awesome.
It is. Lasagna. This is our second time covering this.
Yeah.
But
On this episode.
lasagna.
Lasagna.
The first recollection we have as humans of a lasagna type dish was actually from an English cookbook in the 14th century.
Wow.
It's not Italian.
Wow.
But with tomatoes was when it was made Italian.
Interesting.
And that was in 1880.
That is a great fact.
Lauren, when is the last time you had a home cooked lasagna?
At Shambhala. Now, I don't know if this is home cooked, but
shit.
while I was working there, we were working in the crew kitchens. So I was feeding all of the crew who put on
Wow.
the festival. And we had freaking lasagna.
Heck
Veggie
yeah.
and meat. And you know what?
Whoa.
It was pretty good.
Viande lasagna.
Yeah, vegetables. But now my
We love a
supervisor
vegetal.
was saying, she's like, where I'm from, and she's from Australia. She's like, lasagna is not pasta. Pasta is like spaghetti or linguine or
Right.
fettuccine or penne.
Noodle heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But lasagna is just lasagna. It's
Yeah.
not pasta. It's just lasagna. And I kind of had to argue that lasagna is a pasta. What are your thoughts?
Ooh.
It's definitely
I
kind of
see what
on the
she's saying.
brink,
I see
isn't
what
it?
she's-
Yeah.
Lasagna truly is its own thing.
Well,
and I
Yeah.
agree with
Is
that.
is is fettuccine Alfredo a pasta, or is
Yes.
fettuccine a pasta and Alfredo a sauce?
Alfredo's a sauce, but fettuccine is a pasta.
Right, but is fettuccine Alfredo
Is a pasta because that's just the name of it.
right?
But Alfredo is the sauce. And
Okay.
I know I'm lost in the sauce.
So a lasagna, I believe, refers to the entire dish, but
Correct.
also the slabs of carbs, pasta type stuff
Yeah.
that's in there is
noodles?
also lasagna, right?
Is it a lasagna?
Like
noodle?
lasagna noodles.
But it's not a noodle because it's flat. It's like a lasagna.
I mean, technically,
Pate.
it depends how you.
Noodles can be flat.
It's pasta. I
It's
guess
pasta.
saying
It is
it's
a
a
pa- it
noodle
is
is
a
a
pasta.
stretch,
Yeah.
but it is
Yeah,
a
it's a
I
pasta.
would say it's a noodle.
so
It's just a real big noodle.
yeah. So is the entirety of the dish a pasta? I don't know.
Interesting that you guys are on the fence on this,
Technically,
'cause
lasagna is just a bigger version of fettuccine, isn't it?
Well, no.
I see what you're saying.
Because fettuccine is kind of flat and skinny.
No.
Yeah.
But if you take the same ingredients and arrange them in a different contraption, it is no longer lasagna.
Sure.
But
yeah,
I
you're
still-
right.
I
So
would still argue
lasagna is a dish.
Lasagna is lasagna, through and through. That's just what it is.
You're kidding.
I'm not joking.
What a profound statement.
However, I still think that lasagna is a pasta because pasta is the umbrella term, and
Mm-hmm.
underneath pasta is lasagna, fettuccine, linguine, getcheroni, macaroni, whatever you want.
Penne rigate.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that lasagna is not a pasta.
Right. I mean, that's tough. That's
You backed us into a
That-
corner here,
that
Lauren.
is-
I'll be
this is
honest
really
with you.
tough.
Yeah.
You're providing compelling logic. This may have to be something I need to externally research.
You're really using your
Because
noodle for this
because I will commit to something on this episode, and then he will come back at the start of next
Fact check
episode
you.
and put me on the spot,
Hey,
like
remember
right
when you
there, and
said
be like,
this?
"Hey, man,
Wrong."
you're wrong about this," and then everyone listening will be like, "Wow, that guy's such a fucking idiot." So no, I'm not.
Nah,
gonna,
bro, it ain't like that.
I'm not gonna commit to that. Oh yeah, dude, the number of people I had coming to me with hate speech after that episode.
He got so many death threat emails.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah, they
That's
couldn't.
the price of fame.
They couldn't believe it. Yeah, the massive success. It happens. You gotta learn to live with it. So we're almost at
we are.
220 here.
Yeah, we are stepping into the 2 hour plus range here.
We are reaching
Yeah.
typical podcast length.
Yeah.
So I'm on the train to wrap up at typical
me
time.
too as
Unless
well.
you guys have more that you want to get into. Do we have?
I'm just happy to be here. This is my very
Thanks for
first
coming on,
podcast.
Lauren. That was nice
Yeah.
and spontaneous. We're happy to have you here.
We love a
Yeah.
guest.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, this is gonna be How Many Host Cats episode 5 with Lauren.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with Lauren,
Awesome.
last name unknown.
It's Scottish, I'll tell you that much.
It's Scottish. My last name's Scott, so it'd be
Good job.
hard for you to beat that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, no, I can't beat that one. I can't beat it.
Word.
I'll remain unnamed.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty. Well,
Um,
thank you everyone for dropping in for episode
Yeah.
5. And
thanks for watching. If you did,
yeah, thank you Lauren for hopping on. Thank you Parker for finally catching up with the podcast.
yeah,
Sorry for the couple weeks absence, but we're back.
we're back.
See you
Hopefully
next week. Word.
Woo.
See ya.
Bye bye.